in governing Nigeria in 2007 to examine chapter 2 of the Constitution. That is where all Nigerians since the 70s have resolved that we are going to embrace popular democracy. Section 14 of that Constitution says, sovereignty shall belong to the people of Nigeria, for whom government shall derive its authority and powers. 2, that the economy of Nigeria shall not be concentrated in the hands of a few or a group. What is going on today? The economy of Nigeria has been taken over by boys and girls who were jobless in 1999. There is a group they call Transcorp. That group is busy buying Nigeria now. And we must say that this is not in line with our constitution. Now, I expect new people. Where would they live? Where would the next Inspector General of Police live?
We've never had a progressive leadership at the center. All the military regimes that we've had have been conceived, executed, perfected by the conservative, retrogressive, conservative wing of the military. Equally, all the civilian regimes we've had till date have been conceived, executed, perfected, and rigged into office by the conservative wing of the political elite. So therefore, we have never for once had a progressive leadership at the center. And once you have retrogressive conservatives responsible for running your lives, gentlemen, they must be fully involved in facilitating the quest of the progressive forces to take over political power and use it as the ultimate instrument of liberating the good people of our country. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, please. Yeah, that was Uranga Foundation Band, led by Mr. Bola Yoshidi. Well, at this junction, we would quickly like to recognize the presence of civil society pro-democracy groups in our midst, because this is really our day. It is the day of the civil society, and it is the democracy day in Nigeria. On my list, I have just been informed that we have members of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, in our midst. We will give them a round of applause for members of CDHR. CDHR is a leading pro-democracy group in Nigeria. We also have here members of the Campaign for Democracy.
It affected me personally, but because it gave Nigerians an opportunity to establish orderly succession in the polity. That is apart from the damage it did to my business.
But did you do anything to protest it, like Falano, Ghani, and every other person? Like Umar did in the north?
Well, I cannot tell you that I participated in any demonstration, but I exhorted people not to allow democracy to be trampled upon, and I worked tediously to ensure that we have we ensure that the military left the scene, and that was why I personally came in and participated in politics in 1999, so that issues like June 12 don't arise again, so that people don't come in and interfere with the democratic process.
Can we say that, I mean, what if one day you start supporting one of the elements that annoyed June 12? Would that be a contradiction?
Well, of course there is a contradiction.
This is my question. You work for the NTA. The NTA was very instrumental to the annulment of the June 12th election. How did it feel working in such an organization? It's a horrible organization.
I will not call it a horrible organization.
Well, you guys were announcing all the...
Well, I don't know because I never worked in that department.
Well, but you worked at the NTA. You read
but
news.
I didn't work in that department, so I can't give you... Even that time I wasn't in that department.
But you were at the NTA.
No, I was...
I just want to have the feeling.
I said, go, show worry.
How would you like to leave in the Radio Nigeria? To leave Radio Nigeria during the June 12th.
When I remember my leaving Radio Nigeria, it is with nostalgia, really. There were certain things my conscience would not agree with anymore. Like when news analysis are written from the ministry and forced on us to use in the radio house, I got engaged with that type of situation.
So Chukwumereje, who is now championing democracy, was actually writing news analysis?
I didn't know who was writing it, but they were
sending
it from the ministry.
All right.
I don't know who exactly was writing, but it didn't allow with my own kind of journalism practice and my questions. So I had to leave. Thank you very much.
I just want to ask you a question regarding how you feel about our colleagues who have told out the bastard residents by way of the position they are taking. And you know that today, and some of the elements who never participated in this struggle are the ones who are most at stake.
Brother, we are bound to be critical. Those that I choose to zero in on are those who embraced Abdulsalam Abubakar and conferred on him the label of being a perfect gentleman. You recall that Abiola's corpse had not gone cold. We thought Nigeria was on the verge of a rebirth with the death of Abacha. And with all the intense struggles that have been waged, it was a question of MPO coming out of custody to retake his mandate. But what did we witness? He was murdered. So for those who were in the heart of the struggles, those who didn't go abroad, those who faced bullets, our slogans then were June 12 lives. What we needed in this country was an interim government of national unity that would convoke a sovereign national conference, that would produce a brand new constitution on the basis of which fresh elections will be held. But what did we witness? That was the position of JACON. But those who metamorphosed into Alliance for Democracy distanced themselves from that position. They were already seeing themselves as potential governors and potential presidents. In fact, the statement is one individual wrote the constitution and manifestos for the three political parties. So the question of what happened to MKO, where do we go from here? So opportunity took over. They collaborated with the G34. Those who came into the struggle at the very last minute. Their preoccupation at that time was office at all costs. So this is why at the end of the day, what crowned the struggles of the people was a phenomenon that was distanced from the struggle itself. And so it became a motion without any movement. So some people are bound to say, well, look, what did we wage all these struggles for? Was it to pave way for an Obasanjo who was opposed to the struggle? Those who made it possible are those who embraced the Abdulsalam transition, who labeled us that we were extremists. So on that foundation, we couldn't be surprised that the policies that they continue to implement, are anti-people.
On a sober note,
yes.
How does it feel to live in a country where you are ruled by people who hate the people you represent? How does it feel as an activist to have fought?
Yeah, we draw inspiration from that. We say that the struggle continues. What do you say now? The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory.
Today is June 12th. Part of me is running for president ahead. Suddenly, you are in Abuja visiting the Kubo. Do you now believe that the cause of resistance in Niger Delta is very welcome? Yeah, the armed struggle.
You see, I have, through the years, outlined very clearly my views about
resistance to oppression. I'm a believer in the will. I'm an admirer of Mahatma Gandhi, and I think that you can have a greater struggle of will without harming another person. But it is that will disease that is to kill. And I think that must be encouraged for people to stand up for their rights for what they believe.
Well, how does that gel with meeting Asari Dokubo, who has been described by the government severally as a terrorist in prison?
Well, I've never caught him with a revolver. I just know that he represents a struggle, and I went to find out from him. In fact, and probably one of the things that happened shortly after our meeting was the release of some people who were held. You may not know part of what our talking with him did to his spirit that led to his challenging his people to move from that way. Professor Oleshenka is embarking on an initiative, which is my engagement point really. Professor Oleshenka and I have been, we were together in Port Harcourt with them 2 weeks ago before the meeting in Abuja. Now, the initiative by Professor Oleshenka is a peace initiative that asks for complete abandonment of violent struggle, where a panel of Nobel laureates intervenes to bring about an implementation of the Millennium Accords.
If you become president of Nigeria, what are you going to do about so many of these guys you know them personally who looted this country in the last 40 years, I would say? Are you going to throw somebody in jail, one of the big sacred cows, or you're just going to be like, release your money and we'll let you go?
When we get there, you will see what
we have been hearing this before. I want you to make a commitment, about what you do about corruption.
About corruption,
it's a cliche.
I remain,
say when we get it.
Well, myself as a human being, my whole life is a symbol of anti-corruption. Talking about the United States where you live, in 1996, I was on sabbatical, and CBS Television ran a piece, Mike Wallace, Corruption in Nigeria, in which Mike Wallace said, to Luis Farrakhan, how could you go to the most corrupt country in the world? And I was incensed in many ways, and I sent an email or a fax that very day to Wallace. I said, I'm surprised that a thoroughbred reporter like you would use a superlative, best, worst, those kinds of things you learn in journalism school. You don't use life. How do you know what's the information you have? And my colleagues called me the next day, and we had this discussion. He talked about how he came to Nigeria when the war was in power, the great hope they had. Yes, it was hyperbole, but it was done to show the extent of their disappointment. The important thing I want to say about that discussion is I said to him, I'm in Nigeria. I've been in academia. I've served in government. I have been in industry. And I can stand on the Empire State Building and ask one man who has ever given me a bribe to come forward. I'm sure nobody will step forward.
But you own a bank, I heard. The capitalized bank. You must be really committed to have your bank recapitalized with 25 billion.
I was chairman of the board, vice chairman of the
topic.
What I bring to it is my business knowledge. I probably am not one of the bigger shareholders of the present platform.
You seem to have degenerated in terms of consistency. In one way you ask for good governance, and in another you are supporting the person just so rapidly that people are pissed off with you. What happened to you?
You have to support somebody. Those who supported Jesus, they pissed off with him, but Jesus will never give I don't care. Nobody accepted anybody. What has it done?
You are so new,
yes, because the best thing to support him is right. That's what people are saying. I don't care. If you don't like it, I like it. No problem. The one they like, those who came and through in Abdullah's name, what have they done?
Are you ever going to sing again?
I'm singing.
Quick question. You supported third term. Please and all the Igbos feel that you betrayed them.
Please.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Leave me alone.
Can you please address yourself?
Leave me alone.
No, you owe it as the leader of the Igbo race to explain why you supported an agenda that was
Make
terrible.
an appointment and have an interview.
I'm a journalist. I see you in public. You are a public person. Why are you afraid to express yourself?
Make an appointment and see me. I don't talk recklessly.
It's not about recklessness.
Serious-minded
When you
person.
supported Tottenham, you said it in the public.
You can make an appointment.
Why are you pushing me? Why are you shoving me now? Let me do my job. Let me do my job. Not shove me now. I'm a journalist. I'm trying to ask him a very important question. Public question. No, he's shoving me. That's what I'm saying. No, you shouldn't be doing that. Why can't we ask questions that are pertinent to our main politics? But why is he shoving me?
Sorry, because more people have more time for it.
No,
all of us.
I believe you're an enlightened man. Since you said you're coming from the United States, the man has asked you to make an appointment. That's an enlightened way of doing things. That's right.
Yes.
Maybe we should do that right.
Why not? Yes. I have spoken. The concept of rotational presidency was the first person to speak on it was myself.
Okay.
Because Ohaneze left, and we said that Nigeria started as East, West, and North. When we started as East, West, and North, we decided that we federated as 3 regions. The North has had it for 25 years, 35 years. The West by next year would have had it for 12 years. The East has had it for 6 months. And we say that in the interest of justice, fair play, and equity, it is the turn of the East to produce the next president.
So you believe that?
So I have always said it. I said
you can make appointments.
Let me finish my question.
You can make appointments.
Oh my God. Look, why did you shoot Obasanjo during the war? So that you could have solved this problem a long time ago. You hated him.
We were not. Look, we joined the army the same day.
Yes.
We did the same thing. Okay? Only the difference is that I went to Sandhurst and he went to Mons. Let's get out of the sun, please.
Good.
You see, there's a difference. He might have joined the army, we might have joined the army the same day, but he hasn't got the military background. He had it. Okay? My uncles were in the army. On my mother's side was, my mother was from Numan, and all her people were in the army. So I got some bit of injection, the military injection into me.
Is that why you're always young looking?
No, I don't do what God says I shouldn't do.
And what is that?
I drink a lot and I smoke a lot.
What about womanizing? Quick question, sir. Why is it that the retired generals who are sympathetic to June 12 didn't come to the aid of Abiola when he most needed them? Like the day he was making his declaration, would have liked to see someone like you with a pistol saying, "Come get him, we'll shoot you."
Abiola's case was a bit different.
How was it different?
One, he was a Muslim. Then it has been like, it has been the conclusions of some of the military officers that Abiola being a Muslim and having done so many things for the Christians and for the Muslims, nobody thought anyone would harm him.
Did you give him advice that, this is stupid to think that they won't harm him? Or you weren't close to him?
I wasn't close to him. Those who were close to him deceived him. And they are in power today.
And they are empowered to be.
One last question, which is on the brighter side of life. You act like Fela in real life. Did you guys ever meet close friends?
To Fela?
Yes.
Fela Anikulapo Kuti.
That's right.
Good Lord. Every human being is an actor.
Well, how much role did this idea of professors working as personal assistant, researchers, of say the military, for example, do to education? There are professors who call their grandchildren because they are the wife of governors.
Is that the fact that we need to end now this country? It's unsettled. It's unsettled because I thought as a shepherd, you all of you have said greatest mistake we did when we changed the teaching. We did not sit down and say let's start our. The British people are so organized this country that we never have. All we did was to jump to the instead of removing the child and say what is my culture, what is your culture. That's what people are now saying, but that was 40 years ago. We should have done that. People have tasted of politics and Nigerian politics about money making, and I don't want to hate people. So the issues are not even discussed. If you see somebody fighting over something now, the two of them, one time or not that it was business. I've been enjoying, but I don't want to. The other people want to come and enjoy. Sincerely, it is more serious than that. It's not the question of whether I enjoy or not. It's a question that we are looking for somebody who can move this nation. Check me out of those people are coming out. And you say, yes, this man will move this nation forward. We are not sincere. We don't know what politics is. That's why I use the word about what the job is different from Oshenu. The job is somebody who has a knife and is ready to cut. Oshenu is there. Let us sit down and organize. And we don't have Oshenu. Put in the language of Western man. We have politicians. We don't have state men and women. And unless you have state men and women, anything you do, I go to the election, and once I win the election, thank God, children will never go. Is that politics? I mean, they may be politics, but that's not democracy. So, sincerely, maybe we have to unite our politics. Actually, they say the form of government is not. Principles of fairness. What the party is the French one. You want somebody who is taking, not a politician. Somebody is not going there to take all our money. Somebody knows that schools are not to be protected by me and they own the school. I don't care what happens to the children. Somebody who knows that in the society that poor people no matter. But those people take attention and we must help them to get.
Last question, while you were in affairs, did you have to expel any student activists like they did to us?
I didn't have somebody like that.
You didn't have anybody?
If
you had, you would have had to expel.
Oh, I have students who I expect. But 200 and something, not for students and but and I took all of them back. When I came there, they said they will all go, they will not all go. Because these students made mistakes, we are sending them out for more than 2 years. They have suffered. We bring them under condition. That they have known that they have made mistakes. Go and ask them, 200 and something, that one of the 3 people we didn't take back. And I'm now saying it is one secret. They were all graduates. So we said we will not take them because they don't need to be taken. Not find the records. I did with the other man, the other boy, my brother. It was a very troublesome. But you know how I get with you. No, the other push. You don't fight your enemy. You make friends with them.
I just want to ask you, I saw you in Chicago with Abubakar in the Chicago Lecture Series. Somehow, a lot of people were disappointed that this is somebody that openly, or we knew that must have killed Abiola, let's use that word. But with him, and there are rumors now that you support Babangida coming back to power. Rumors, I say. What's your reaction? Abubakar and then Babangida. What's your relationship with these 2 bad cousins?
I'm not one person who would deny my friends. Babangida and I have been friends since the early 60s when I was a young officer in the army. We used to night club together in Lagos in those days.
You won't report that.
You can report that. Seriously. We used to night club together. And we've been friends for many years. In fact, I did a lot in my career because at the time when I brought him in, Tivan Kabbalah and I were having quarrel. Abiola requested I should be removed as MTA. Babangida then suggested I should be ambassador, and I rejected the ambassador post. Only 10 years then they told me. When there was an attempt by Tony Momo to remove me as MTA of 3 times, they asked me to hand over to Professor no question, from Old Vendor. He had written my letter of sack. When I went there and got the job with him, but he thought I was going to leave. He reversed himself. So I have many stories to tell about him. So as a friend, they are friends. But June 12 was the thing that divided us. Since the annulment of June 12, the Banaga and I have not had 2 minutes of discussion together, ever. We have not had a face-to-face discussion.
So we are never going to see you support his president?
No. Just tell you the historical fact that June 12 divided us. That does not mean I should deny him as a personal friend. Personal relationship is different from political relationship. He remains my friend, and that does not mean I agree with his politics. So those who carry rumor about supporting one or the other should know that I have learned my lesson after 2003 when I blindfoldedly supported my own brother and he did me in. So I have no presidential candidate as of now. 2. As for Atiku Abubakar, he's been my friend for years. In fact, the wife is a very...
So we are talking about Abubakar.
Absalom, yes, I'm coming to that. Absalom Abubakar happens to be a very close friend. Not only a close friend, the two families are very close. The wife is, in fact, closer to me than the husband. I won't deny my friend their friendship. That does not mean I agree with their politics. Friendship, you see, the problem in Nigeria is that we don't draw a line between pastoral relationship and political relationship. I'll give you an example. Alex is a friend, is still a friend. He was a trustee of the MPN. And I didn't deny him being my friend. I was working for Sketch, which was controlled by the UPN. Same thing Mr. Kombini Yogi was Minister of Defense in Shagari's government. He was my friend from the Lord. We remain friends. You see, people should learn to keep friendship and have differences in politics. Take, for example, we have Dosugu and Latif Dosugu. One was in action on the UPN, the other was in MPN. One was in MPN, Minister of Housing under MPN. Latif Dosugu was chairman of the co-hotels under Jack Condon. Same father, same mother. So I want to draw a line between my personal relationship and my political relationship.
Thank you. So would you say that the Daily Times is the intelligence unit of the power elite in this country? Because you seem to know a lot of people who haven't been in the Daily Times. Yeah, I mean, this has always been the issue. Like people who are managing the writers of the Daily Times are always suspected to be SSS men or CIA kind of fronts for the government. How much of nocturnal meetings goes into that kind of position with the power elite in the country?
You see, people again make this mistake. I have always challenged them. If, for example, I were an agent of security agencies, I would have gone against them when they are not doing trade. When you are an agent of state security, you don't fall out of line. I stood my ground against all known friends in the military. If I were agents of the military, I wouldn't have taken my strong position against the military when they are not doing it. Before then, when they had the press council decree, even though I was manager of them, I stood my ground against imposition or registration of journalists. Somebody who is an agent doesn't go against the serious government policy. You see, there's a misconception. If you are working for a government-owned newspaper, you have to work on a tightrope, what Elijah said called working on tightrope. You have to balance. I have challenged people, I have challenged all agencies of police. For example, when Colonel Togo said that some journalists were on their payroll, when he was accused of having been involved in the killing of Dulegiwa, he said, well, of course, many journalists are on their payroll. I was the only journalist who came out in 1990 and challenged Colonel Togo to name those journalists who are on their payroll. He has never been able to name. I can tell you that many of those people that you are talking about will happen to work together, but none of them can say that I benefited a couple. I'm one journalist who has never taken any business from anybody, and I can challenge any security chief to come out today and say that this is the record he has on the state control.
What's your next political plan? Where are you going next?
We are delivering the next president of this country. We are chasing out President Obasanjo. He's been a terrible brother, a terrible image for Yoruba. He has destroyed all the myths.
But quite honestly, when is the Yoruba elite who deliver Yoruba land to his people going to apologize for that betrayal?
Well, I had no apology for supporting Obasanjo in 2003. We did that to support and sustain democracy.
When you said you regretted what you were blindfolded?
No. Well, you see, realizing that one makes a mistake does not mean that the mistake
that made in the interest of the nation cannot be. I will repeat it again. Because in 1993, the LTP and NRC were on each other's throats. And we opened the gate for Abacha to come back. In 2003, we saw a situation just like Nahaba when he was trying to impeach him. We saw a situation where if you are not careful, the military may come in. In 2003, we supported him to allow a transition from one civilian government to another civilian government with the hope that the military will be kept at bay. That was the main purpose. We never collected a couple for President Obasanjo for our campaign. We spent our money to campaign for him, to persuade Yoruba to support him. We didn't ask for any single office from him. And we decided after he read us out that we will not take anything from him. So we did it to save democracy. No regret.
But he claims that he gave chickens to all the very
What is chicken?
One chicken is from his farm.
In the era of bird flu.
That's 2,000 naira each.
I will take a chicken from Obasanjo because it may be infected with bird flu. I assure you, what we asked Obasanjo to do was genuine census, true federalism. We were there for ideological reasons. You see, if we didn't do that, maybe the military would have been back. So this time around, now I'm producing the president under a mega major party of ACD, AD, AMPP that will come together, form a big party and confront the carcass called PDP. The vultures in PDP.
We just fought and won this third-time battle. Some people will say this third-time battle was by accident, won by the people that came together who do not have a track record of activism or movement politics. What would you say?
Well, I would say that accident is part of it, no doubt. But the major reasons why this battle was won, amongst others, is that Mr. President on his own openly confessed that he does not watch Nigerian television and does not listen to radio. He doesn't read Nigerian newspapers. So he has no appreciation of the power of these institutions. And by extension, he has no respect for the Nigerian masses. Because the views of the media is just the view they get from the masses of the Nigerian people. So Mr. President, by his admission, does not respect the Nigerian legislature and does not respect the Nigerian media. And these are the two institutions, alongside with the masses, that determined the fate of the third term project. Because one, he felt that having sufficiently impoverished the people, that at the sight of 50 million naira, that every legislator in the National Assembly will be falling over one another. So, but he was surprised that when he brought the 50 million naira, a lot of people could stand up and say no. And by the time he began to appreciate the weight of AIT live coverage of the debate, it was too late, because he made several efforts to try to stop it. You need to have been in Nigeria at that time. People were sitting at every beer parlor and every office and were glued onto the television, watching all those debates with a lot of people pilloring Mr. President and tearing his so-called policies apart. So when he saw the whole thing crumbling, it was too late, because he couldn't do anything at that material moment.
Yeah, another part of it is that there's also an agitation in the southeastern part of the country, for a different country, for self-determination, and we use the appropriate language. And you are a lawyer to myself. But we find out that most of the governors do not, at least most of them that I've spoken to, do not seem to have an appreciation of this agitation. Some of them say, well, they're just trying to sell t-shirts, or caps, that because they didn't see the war itself. How, being someone who knows what is going on, what is this movement about and what do you think is going to happen?
Quote me, none of those governors except Peter Obi in the southeast won an election in 2003. So they can afford to say whatever they like. And that is one. Secondly, if they think Masob commands no force and no weight, I have always said to them, why don't we create an opportunity? Let Ohanes and Igbo, led by Joy Rubu, call all Igbo people out at Obara Square. And then let Masob be given an opportunity to call out to Igbo at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. The crowd that will attend Masob invitation will 20 times double that of Ohanes and Igbo. And if the situation is like that with Ohanes and Igbo, it will be worse with any government. If ask any governor to call his supporters and followers to a field, and then you ask Masop in that state to call their supporters and followers in the field, the supporters and followers of Masop will be larger in number. What it means is that if a referendum is conducted in England today, it is most likely, or you can say most certainly, that majority of the English people will overwhelmingly vote in support of the ideals that Masop is pursuing. Therefore, you can say something should be treated with contempt. Since I was born, I am not aware of any Igbo organization or platform for that matter, or any governor, or any Igbo group that ever called on people to stay at home and people respected it. But Masop called on people to stay at home without any radio or television announcement, without any newspaper advert or advert in any other magazine. And everywhere across the country, Igbo people stayed at home and closed down their shops without anybody being intimidated. Yet, these so-called governors, according to you, are saying that Masop has been foolish. Let them ask people to stay at home when they leave, and let us see how much power they influence the world.
Finally, how does it feel that after this whole struggle against Tottenham, the people who are prime candidates for elections are the same individuals who supported the other, like they are not qualified to be president and supported the elevation of the tenure of this president? Yeah, I mean, what must that have as an effect on your side or somebody who's running?
Well, the reason is because people like you and I have failed. One, we graduated together, we were in the student movement together, and the time when you were most needed here, you ran away to America. So if you were here, I'm sure you will be either in the House of Reps or in the Senate if you stay in Lagos and run for election. Because you find out that those who are running, at the end of the day, are those who were hiding in their wardrobes when we were on the street fighting. You have more courage than all of them. You have more conviction, you are more principled, you are more idealistic. You are more attuned with the ordinary people, and you are more determined to change their lives and improve on it. But at the end of the day, after struggling to bring down bad government, after being the ones to go to prison, our people always chicken out. They never showed enough confidence in themselves to step forward, to run for election. I was a lawyer to Ijaw Youth Council, and at the time Ijaw Youth Council was commanding all the forces in the entire Ijaw states. They could determine who wins and who doesn't win election. And I pleaded with them to no end that they should ensure that they get their people to run for election. A lot of our cadres can win councillorship election in their small groups. And the councillor these days can contribute to the future political development of a bigger political group. Why don't we send the several of these our members who are idealistic and principled to run as councillors? Councillors are getting about 150,000 naira a month plus other things. Why can't we send them? Because they will win it in their several wards.
Well, you are just saying that all the governors in East, apart from whose election was determined about 3 years after, didn't win the election. How do you ask people who have no resources to go and run against people who come out all these resources, and then even when they win the elections are rigged against them, and you know this?
At the time I came out to run for House of Representatives, I had less than 50,000 naira. It was just the use of those methods which we applied in the university that I won. They carried my result sheets like other people. The returning officers absconded with my result sheet. I say you won't submit it. If you run away with my result sheet that I fold my hands, they will submit it. I had to go and wait for them at the point of submission. It was only one man who finally succeeded with the aid of the police to submit a fake result against me. And after he absconded, I traced him with my boys and got him, and we beat him, we blew mud out of his eyes. I am saying that to show my brother, if we go to a constituency where you live, where people know you here in Lagos, and call most of our companies, there is a way we will operate like we used to operate. And nobody will steal our vote. They will leave that area. You can even run on PRP and win in that constituency. Let us capture as many councillorship positions as possible. Let our people stop saying that they are university graduates, therefore they won't run for council. Let's get all these our university graduates, capture as many councillorship positions as possible. if we capture majority of the councillorship seats in a particular local government and we don't like the way the chairman is run, we impeach the chairman and make the deputy chairman the chairman and give him our person to be deputy. And if he gets more stupid, we still impeach him and make the deputy our chairman. And we will be in control of that place, giving water and everything.
So we can let our people be councillors and their people chairman and governor?
No, if we can get our people to run most of the councillorship position, it automatically translates to the capture of chairmanship position. Because if there are 10 wards in any local government area, and we are able to get 8 and 7 of our people to run, and then 7 or 8 of those people can win. If 8 of those people win, automatically whoever we bring as chairman has won. So that's the easiest way we can capture. And every local government chairman in Nigeria today gets a minimum of 50 million naira a month. So multiply it by 10 months, that's 500 million. Multiply it by 20 months, that's 1 billion. Imagine if you as a local government chairman were presiding over 1 billion naira from the federal allocation, not including the internally generated revenue. Is there any political movement you can sponsor? So if we are serious-minded, we can even start from the councillorship position. Let's capture as many chairmanship and councillorship positions as possible. And if you can win a local government election for chairman, you can win the House of Assembly that year. Because every chairmanship position covers 1 House of Assembly seat. And I think that is what we should sit down and do, honestly.
Do you think we've learned any lessons from June 12 in our current dispensation?
Absolutely not. We haven't learned any lessons. As a matter of fact, my own great headache is the fact that with all the struggle of June 12, with the mistakes that the politicians made, it was the same elements who were responsible for the annulment of June 12, the sustenance of that annulment, and the commercialization of the disdain for the Nigerian people. Subsequently, were the same people who benefited from it. You know, there were no punishments meted out to people who were responsible for the annulment. As a matter of fact, the lead annuller of that election is angling to come back to power. So, where would we learn from? Where were the lessons? There were no knowledge. There was no sharing of knowledge. There was no sharing of experiences. What we just had was that everybody went out to fight. We fought, chased them out of power, and then we went and rested, and then they all recouped and came back, and now they are leading the pack. It's very sad. So where we are is that after June 12, we had 1999 election, which was rigged. Everybody knows that, but that rigging was tolerated because people just want to take a new bread. And in 2003, I don't need to describe to you the level of rigging. It was so bad that Jimmy Carter, who had been friends with Obasanjo for so many years, had to leave Nigeria without certifying the election, either good or bad. That was how difficult that election was. But you were on the ground and you saw it. That election was a crime against humanity. So no lessons were learned, and I'm afraid and I'm sorry for the Nigerian people that we are headed in another wrong direction.
International team. International.